Yo, there's a bunch of cameras in the way, but yeah, I'm not really gonna put too much effort into not having them be in the way. I don't think you care that much. I think you just want to know what I'm talking about here, which is this thing. My Euro rack that I made, because that's what you do with Euro rack. You pick the pieces, man. It's crazy. Yeah, but the point is, I totally switched kind of my approach to how to use all this stuff, and I find that I'm a lot more productive now, which is I was already at a high productivity level with my new setup, which I did a video on, which was not that good. It wasn't very clear what I was talking about, but I don't know, it has some views, so I think you watched it. But I also don't have a script for this. I just turned on the cameras because it's been a while since I did a talking video, and these are pretty fun. I bought this camera to do talking videos, and I haven't used it yet for that. But anyway, I feel like this is a good topic of discussion, is how modular has actually opened up I don't know, musical possibilities, I guess, in the sense that I was kind of where I would build a track sort of using the Digitact as the main brain before, and sequencing all of the tracks in the Digitact. And I kind of had this preoccupation with being able to have all of the tracks output, like the MIDI of the tracks, saved and output into Ableton, which I was doing successfully. And I have all of like the album that I released, Worlds Over, and all the other songs that I worked on that didn't make that album. I have like all the MIDI files and everything in Ableton, all tracked out, and all the individual drum tracks, and everything is like cataloged and archived perfectly. I don't see myself ever going back to those files. So, whereas sometimes I'll dig up some old stuff and be like, oh, I wish I could separate this part out or whatever, it's pretty rare for the amount of work that goes into, well, not the amount of work really, the amount of space that it takes up is negligible too, because space is cheap nowadays, but you know, it's just a matter of, is it really worth going from the Digitact through Overbridge, through Ableton, through MIDI, USB, controlling everything in this rack right here? Is it worth doing like all those jumps and connections and having to deal with latency and setting up hardware latency and live and all that stuff? Or should I just go DAWless, like real DAWless, like I used to, and just have a clock and have the Digitact sequence stuff? Well, that's what I have been experimenting with the past week or so, and that's what I feel like is the kind of right way to go. I have the Pam's new workout as a master clock with the MIDI expander sending clock to the Digitact. So the Digitact still has the ability, the Digitact MIDI out is actually sending clock, and I mean like sending MIDI signal to the Prophet 6 and the Moog Matriarch. Actually, well, so the point is that the Digitact is not going through Ableton anymore. It's not through Overbridge and then controlling everything. It's just the MIDI cable is directly connected. So there's a benefit of that. That means like there's basically no MIDI latency. The downside, and I'm sure there's a workaround for this, it's just really not worth the hassle, but the downside is that now I don't have individual, since I'm not using Overbridge, I don't have individual tracks out of the Digitact. So I can't like raise the volumes of the like I won't be able to edit in post the drums. That's a huge downside, but I think where I'm at in terms of like what's fun to make and all that, like, and I feel like it's okay that I can't like edit stuff afterwards. There's a artist on Instagram Christian that I talked to, and he said that he treats all of his studio sessions like a sandcastle that kind of just disappears after you're done with it. And taking that approach has been kind of really freeing, where I'm not, and there's nothing wrong with this approach as well. Like I was taking the Digitact and crafting each track with just like sequencing each track inside the Digitact, and that was good for individual tracks, but I never really was able to switch to like make a whole set unless I tried really hard and specifically made a set rather than making songs and then making tracks and then putting a set together out of them, if that makes sense. And I think the reason, I'm not really sure what the reason is, but I think it's mainly to deal with, honestly, just volume and just like every time you mess around with the Digitact, the volumes are all different everywhere. So it's like, you can't just like switch tracks and send a program change send to the Prophet 6 and change the preset and expect the volume to be at the right volume or whatever. So it's like there's almost too much like minutia and configuration that goes into, oh, I gotta monitor the volume here, do all this stuff. With the new approach that I've been taking, I have the Digitact going into the input of the Eurorack, and then converted to like eighth inch, like Eurorack cable. And then I have that going into the ALM Warng jumbo hinge mixer as the external input. I could probably like put it into one of the filters too, but the external input is fine. So what is that brings one place where I'm doing the mixing. That's like this whole section right here. Instead of like worrying about it everywhere. So like, if the drums are too loud, okay, I'll just, it's right here and this sort of, but drums are too loud, I could just tweak that a bit, or if the whatever I'm doing with the Bassimilus is too loud, I can just like turn that down over here. It's just different to have it all in one box, all in one place, and also going through, not that the jumbo hinge really does anything in terms of like gain staging, but going through all the same, like going through the same module is just like, I don't know, more easier to like handle kind of. So like my main, like kind of the brain is not even like, you would call the Digitact the brain before. And I have been using it like that for years, but now it's kind of like I don't know, like, no, it's still the brain, I guess. I guess just the clock the Eurorack has taken some responsibilities of the Digitact. So having the Metropolix, which is like a newer sequencer from IntelliGel, it's a sequel to a different, to their earlier Metropolis. And on the inside of this, it says Metropolis V2 actually, or Metropolis 2. But anyway, this allows me to just instead of like sitting there and like composing something on the keyboard and then like recording it in and then, going through and making sure it all sounds good. This just has like hands-on, like, all right, the scale is Mixolydian B and I'm touching this and it's making a track now. Like, I'm into this stuff just to make music. Like, I don't know how to put it. I mean, like, I'm not trying to compose anything. I'm trying to make the music right now. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and write anything. I'm trying to make something now. And this really helps me do that. And it kind of has this infinite playability. You can just switch stuff around and you can kind of really hear this thing. that's kind of what I was going after with this case. I kind of realized that, like, if you've been watching some of my videos, you can see that I've switched this around 100 times, and also that this is, I think, my 4th case, and I've only been to do Eurorack for like 6 months or something. It is definitely ill. It's definitely not normal. But it took me so long to realize that you just have to treat it like I used to think, I wished there was a Digitact, but it had 2 analog synth tracks and like 2 separate knobs and like more like knob per track, or I mean knob per function stuff. I just made that in here. Like you can just make a groove box, like your dream groove box basically. So like if you like really cut it down, like you can say I have I don't know, there's like 8 here, 8 or a few here, 8 here. Say like, I don't know, like a 12 LFO, 2 voice, 1 percussive voice, 2 like reverb and delay groove box or something with joystick control and sequencer, you know what I mean? Like if you can think of it, if you approach, basically a lot of Eurorack people give this advice, which I tried to heed as best I could, but it's basically know exactly what you want when you get into it, and I thought I did, but I guess it just takes a while to figure out exactly like how to achieve that. And also your priority switch. Like originally what I wanted to do with this was just have it be another East Coast synth voice, and that's what I was using it as. Like yeah, like my video on the matriarch, I forgot I did a video about that. Like the matriarch, like I made it like as a matriarch clone. Well, I realized it can kind of be more than that, and kind of I wonder how many of those modules that I had in that I actually still have. This one, this one, this one. Yeah, pretty much all of them. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on why Eurorack is cool and why DAWLESS is cool. It's a very strong statement. It's cool. Can't deny that one. They're gonna be fighting me. They're gonna be talking about that one for years. How did he think it was cool? No, what's the thesis? Eurorack is better than regular hardware for improvisational performance, which you guys probably already knew that, because I was saying that on Instagram and there were comments saying, yeah, duh, but I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if this type of video is good, and I'll make more. Thank you.